Hey guys, it's Sintrigger here, and I just wanted to make a video today talking about what the series as a whole of Destiny and Destiny 2 kind of mean to me. This is a personal story, kind of goes into the origins a little bit as to even how I began streaming and creating content, and I think it's kind of important to have this open discussion. So this is going to be more like a vlog than it is an actual gameplay video or anything like that. So if that's not what you're here to see, I have plenty of other videos over my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Sintrigger96, and over my Twitter at Sintrigger, and even some from Borderlands and a couple Destiny things here or there on my YouTube. I promise you I'm going to have more stuff out once Shadowkeep drops. But one thing I do want to give kind of a trigger warning, so to speak. I know it's a pun on my name. But I understand that talking about mental health issues can be difficult for some people, and it can even trigger some aspects of PTSD for others. So, I wanted to lay it out here. This is a trigger warning. I'm not talking about anything super in depth, but I want to respect everybody's, feelings on that subject. And I think it's important that I just mention that before I even begin talking about Destiny as a whole. So, that being said, this is going to be a rather long video. Sit back, relax, grab a soda, grab a bag of chips. Thank you for even watching this, because this is a very personal story to me. And I just felt like, after almost a year of streaming and a year of content creation and a year of building my community, I kind of feel obligated to talk about why everything is so important to me here, and why, you shouldn't give up on something you love just because of what you might be feeling. Now, if you are struggling with mental illness, if you are struggling with depression, anxiety, problems that are debilitating that come from an emotional and mental standpoint, I will be posting some help links here in the description. Please never feel trapped in a corner. Never feel like you can't reach out to someone, because there are resources out there that can definitely help you. So, that being said, let's get into it. So, back in 2014, I was still in high school. I was a senior in high school. I grew up in a very small town on the East Coast, near Ohio, near Pittsburgh, kind of in between that. Anyways, regardless, I played video games growing up. I think we can all say that we've played a ton of video games growing up. I didn't have necessarily a bad childhood. I didn't have, I would always get whatever the new fancy game console was in, at the beginning of the cycle, and, kind of just play that or whatever. I didn't really get into online gaming until I was probably in middle school, high school. And I think this is just, that's kind of where it started. I always loved sci-fi. I love Star Wars. I love Star Trek. I'm a very big science fiction fan, and I also love fantasy. So, I played the Halo games growing up. Wasn't entirely, big into Halo, and I know that's probably going to get some of you guys going, me saying that. They're not bad games. They're great games. I love and respect Bungie, and to me, it just feels like that was the foundation that they needed to eventually embark on the project that would become Destiny. So, but with all that Halo hype, hearing that there was some kind of action RPG, first-person shooter game coming out from Bungie that had to do with science fiction and some elements of fantasy really intrigued me. I was kind of excited. I was very excited for it. And so a buddy of mine in high school, we actually... don't tell my old high school principal, but we stayed up for the midnight release, and we did almost like a LAN party in his basement, and we stayed up all night playing the game, got through the campaign, got through all of that, and that was kind of just the first spark that interested me in the franchise. That was back in 2014. I was not even 18 years old yet. I'm 22 now. I'm almost 23. And, you know, I had no idea at the time that this was going to be the game that kind of carried me through some of the darkest times of my life. So not too much to talk about with Destiny 1. We went through the whole cycle with it. Had a couple friends. We would always group up for the Nightfalls. When the Dark Below came out, we ran Crota. You know, that was like the best time for me personally, where I just had all of my friends, you know, kind of going through this transition of like, we're about to be shoved off into the open world. We're about to be shoved off into the real world, you know, college, jobs after school, that kind of thing. So, you know, it was really nice to be able to experience that with my friends. It was almost like a nice little huzzah, a nice little goodbye experience, and a nice little way for us to be able to connect no matter where life took us, right? So, great. That summer, I had gotten into a relationship. You know, we're all good now, but that led on for about 2 years or so, and you know, we stayed together through me being in college and her being back home, whatever it was. You know, nothing too crazy there. Cut it off. You know, life came at us fast. We were at a transition point between being children and being adults. So that point, I was in college. You know, I was a little bit further away from home. Didn't really speak to a lot of my old high school buddies or anything like that at the time. We'd all kind of fallen off. We even fell off of Destiny for a while. And that being said, it was cool because I ended up moving into a dorm room, like an apartment. We had like a main area type of thing, and there was actually 5 other guys living with me. And we all, ironically, we all had an interest in Destiny. So when the Taken King came out, we were at the midnight release at our local GameStop. And we played it. We all played it together, and that was a great time for me, honestly. You know, that in the background, I kind of was fighting my own personal demons, just kind of like regrets from the past, uncertainty of the future, whatever it might be. I was about 19 years old at this time. You know, I think I had just turned 19. So we all kept playing together. And then the next year, I was about to finish college. I went for a 2-year degree, and we all kind of fell off during Rise of Iron. School stresses were stressing us. My own personal depression that I hadn't really felt since I was in high school had kind of returned. And it wasn't fun. It really wasn't fun. You know, I kind of felt low. I didn't really have interest in doing much. So I kind of closed myself off, and that was really difficult for me. At this time, I was still with the girl. Everything was fine there. Then I moved back from college that spring, just in time for them to announce Destiny 2. At this point, I had spent about 2 or 3 years of my life playing Destiny, you know, through all the highs and the lows, through all of the problems I had. And while I was in college, I worked at Best Buy, and I had a couple friends there that actually played Destiny. So, you know, we were able to kind of link up every now and again after work whenever we were both off at the same time. And, you know, we had some good times. We had some really good times playing, you know, the Rise of Iron content, you know, King's Fall, Wrath of the Machine, and it was a good time. It was a really good time, and it was still really good. You know, it kind of helped me move on in a way from my depression. Not totally forget about it, and I'm not saying substitute that for anything else, but reflecting back on it, that was probably a really good time. Now, I joined a band after college. Ex-girlfriend now and I had split up, and you know, I was kind of dating around, doing whatever, and, you know, I'm not getting super personal, but some things happened, and I was shoved back into that dark corner. I was shoved back into that depression. You know, I was kind of going through the motions, my day-to-day motions. I had a solid career job, which was great. It was absolutely phenomenal. Loved it, but that's all I really had. You know, I had the band, and I had my professional career. And that being said, video games were kind of falling off for me. I was in a really tough spot, and picked up Destiny 2, played through the Red War campaign, enjoyed everything. I enjoyed it all. But by this point, I had nobody to play with. So I fell off of it very quickly. I'll be the first to admit that D2 Vanilla, I did not stick around for very long. And, things got really difficult for me. Mentally, physically, balancing a lot of life, and going through there. So, my 21st birthday, which was December of 2017, was when Curse of Osiris dropped. When Curse of Osiris came out, I was like, cool. So played through that, did that, still didn't really have any friends to play with, and I was busy with life, which was weighing on me mentally, and I was not taking any time for myself. The band was my hobby. It was just as it is with streaming, a very important hobby to me, and I loved every minute of it. I have friends within the music scene for the, metal, punk, hardcore, whatever it might be. And I kind of lost sight of who I really was in the beginning. And that being said, it was more or less me being a nerd in a good way. A lot of people from that little group didn't really understand that I was like secretly this huge nerd in the background. And I felt like I honestly was suppressing that, which was kind of stupid. I'm not going to lie. But, I was single, and, where I'm from, you're not really like, nerds are kind of like, I was a single 21-year-old, right? And I had met a girl who is now my girlfriend. We live together, and she's been the most supportive person I've ever met in my life of what I do and the fun that I have. So, circling back to Destiny and how this all relates, I stopped playing Destiny completely around December of 2017. And went through the motions, kept with my job, kept with the band, and stop. So what happened was, that summer, I was losing steam. I had kind of pushed myself back into that corner that I was stuck in, like, for years. And I had always struggled with depression. I was on medication for it for a while. I still, kind of just, whatever with that. But personally, I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. I was getting very aggravated. I was lashing out at friends. I was lashing out at family. I was kind of closing myself off and shutting down. And it wasn't healthy. It was not a healthy mindset. So something had to change. I needed to do something. And in my mind at that time, I just needed to get rid of something that was stressing me out. And that stressor was the band. So I cut ties with all of that. I left the band. The band ended up breaking up. And I was fortunate enough to be able to keep those guys as my friends, even after the fact. After everything that had happened, they were still there to kind of support me in a way. And I'm still fortunate that my girlfriend was there to kind of support me as well. So, circling back to Destiny. I was lost. I was lost. I really had nothing to do, nowhere to go. And I didn't even have the desire to play video games, honestly. And it was incredibly painful for me to be able to, get up every day. It was a very dark time. And I had kind of just like shut down to the point where nothing felt right. Nothing felt right. I didn't know what I needed. I didn't know what I wanted. And at this point, my girlfriend and I had just moved in together. So one day I was at work, and I saw an advertisement for Destiny 2 Forsaken. And I had thought to myself, I'd played all the other expansions. Maybe if I start playing some video games again, I'll feel a little bit better. And I didn't really want to so to speak. And that sounds crazy now looking back at it and looking where we're at now, but I didn't want to really do anything, you know? So I picked up Destiny 2 Forsaken. I played it, played through the campaign, and something about it, you know, for the first time in a very long time, I felt like some form of like happiness and some kind of connection to like the nostalgia and my childhood in a way, and it worked for me. It worked for me, and that's not going to work for everybody, but it worked for me. And the one thing that I would say happened after that was I was once again in that position where I didn't really have anyone to play with. I had nobody to play with. Everybody I knew had moved on. So I decided, hey, I'm going to reach out to one of my old buddies from Best Buy. His name is Crimson in, gamer world. His name's Crimson, and he was part of a clan. He was part of a Destiny 2 clan called Andal's Cloak, and we started playing together again. And for the first time in months, it had felt like I had actually had friends again. And my girlfriend at the time didn't quite understand, like, what was the appeal. Like, what, like, she plays video games, she gets it, but she's not a big online gamer. She doesn't understand, at the time, she didn't understand, like, hey, yeah, like, you're spending all this time on this video game, it's not healthy for you, it's not good for you. And I agree, you shouldn't, ignore your well-being to play a video game. Let's be real. Let's be real here. I'm telling you guys that straight up. If it's ruining your life, you need to get help with cutting it out. That's fine. And I'm not saying here that playing video games is a good be-all, end-all to cure your depression or anything like that. That's not the case. But, then she kind of sat with me for a little while and saw the interactions I was having with Crimson and members of that clan that we would all run raids with, Last Wish specifically, and going from there. So, we had all kind of banded together, and we decided, hey, we're in this clan, but why don't we take a group of us, the core group of us that all played together within the clan that didn't really associate with anyone else in the clan, and this includes Behemoth, Han Brolo, our good friend Mitzi, Crimson, Firefist Ace, Old Man, people that if you have watched me in my early days of streaming, which was not that long ago, you would recognize some of those people, right? So we had all decided, hey, why don't we just kind of leave this clan, and move to another one? So we did. We moved to another one, and that's when Dredgen's Revenge began. And that was the turning point for me. I had a friend at the time that was like, hey, you're really good at playing Destiny, and like you care about the community, you care about the people that play it. And I said, okay, and it's just a game. And he suggested, why don't you start Twitch streaming? Why don't you start Twitch streaming? And at the time I was thinking, that's stupid. No one's ever going to want to watch me. No one's ever going to... Who wants to watch some bearded dude sitting on his recliner playing a video game? I love Twitch streamers, and I had absolutely no issues with the streaming community as a whole. I love streamers. Now, but for me, being in the low place that I was, and feeling very isolated and very cold and very not okay, I had thought to myself, that's a stupid idea. Nobody's going to care about what I have to say. Nobody's going to care about what I do. Whatever. And there was one Saturday, I remember, my girlfriend and I were cleaning up the house. We were planning on raiding as a clan that night. And I thought to myself, you know what? Screw it. Let me set up the Twitter. Let me set up the Twitter. Let me set up an Instagram account. Let me reset out. Let me get my old Twitch account back from when I was in college. And I did it. It took everything in me. The lowest I had ever been in my life. It it had taken everything in me to hit that live button and play Destiny 2 through that. Now, that's where it began. And in reflection, it was probably the best decision I've ever made in my life. I'm healthier. I'm happier. I don't feel as stressed anymore. And I think a lot of that has to do with how positive the Destiny community is. The people that I meet through this game are some of the best people I've ever met. And you can say what you want about the game, and some of it's valid, some of it's not. But I think it's important to, if you were struggling in the way that I was at the time, I think it's incredibly important for you to find something, find some kind of hobby, find some kind of outlet to kind of put yourself into. Find something creative. I don't care if you are only good at drawing stick people, okay? Find some kind of creative outlet that doesn't put a stress on you and own that, I don't expect Bungie to find this. I don't expect Bungie to see this. I just want to give you guys some perspective on who I am, where I'm from, where I come from, and why I swear by Destiny so much. Why I'm so thankful that this game exists. Bungie has created something that not only gave me friendship and not only connected me with people that were in kind of the same spots I was, but affording me the opportunity to have these people in my life and have these friends. Even though some of us live like across the world from each other, these people are my family. And that's what this game gave me. This game gave me family in a good, positive way, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. I wanted to share you guys the shorts, not short, but the story of who Sintrigger is, where I come from, and why I'm playing, why I play Destiny, and more importantly, what something so small can mean to someone. And I think that's very important to mention, and to anyone out there that's struggling with any kind of depression, to anyone out there that's struggling with feeling like you're not good enough, you are. You are good enough to do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it. You are good enough to do what you want to do. Creatively, artistically, in your career, and whatever it is you want to do, you can be successful. It takes time, it does take effort, but as long as you're doing something that makes you happy, nobody can stop you from that. And I will say, Destiny 2, Bungie, thank you guys for the past 5 years of content, stories, laughs, cries, ups and downs. Thank you guys for all of that. And I'm welcoming Shadowkeep with open arms, and we'll be there. I'll be back on the battlefield, and I hope you guys find some of this helpful in, whatever it is about your life. Find something that makes you happy, hold on to it, and just take it to the grave with you. So thank you guys for listening. If you made it to the end of this, honestly, you were the best. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to share the video. I hope that this finds someone that desperately needs to hear it. You can do it. I'm not going to sit here and be preachy and say, hey, insert do this if you want to be a great content creator. Insert do this if you, want to be good, or, make it big, so to speak. Because I'm not even big. I'm not big. I don't want to be big. I just want to show you guys that you can find family in the smallest of places. And once again, thank you guys, Bungie, for allowing me that and affording me that opportunity. So without further ado, thank you for one of the best years of Destiny, and thank you guys for listening. My name is Sintrigger, and I hope to see you guys Starside.